Uh-huh. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing on Today, we're just going to bring on the one and only. I'm going to let y'all watch. This is the guy we're bringing on today. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Wimbush. Take a look at it. The guy that's joining us today on the Other Hand podcast. This is the first time, in fact, that you got. Wait, hold on, let me pause it. Is he on a new level? That's how we getting it with Brandon Wimbush. This is the first time that a quarterback is going to be on the live stream today. Brandon Wimbush is going to join us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited. I hope you guys tune in. We're going to get Brandon Wimbush on the live stream for On the Other Hand podcast. I'm ready. What up, Kevin Stephenson? My guy, he's holding it down. But yeah, my guy Brandon, he gonna jump on for the On the Other Hand podcast. Put in the comments what y'all want me to ask Brandon. I mean, it's the first Red Army chat. I'm calling it the Red Army chat because, you don't get to see too many inside details to the quarterback room. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing on Brandon Wimbush. Right now, I'm seeing highlights to remind y'all of what he was putting on at Notre Dame. That's my guy. He was making plays, running the football, throwing the football. I mean, what else? This is what we live for. In the chat, on the Other Hand podcast, we getting too many. Brandon Wimbush joining the. I just want y'all to check out some highlights. I mean, he was making plays. The young guy, the gunslinger, the quiet assassin himself. Y'all can also put in the comments what was Brandon's favorite. What was your favorite Brandon moment? You can put that in the comments. We want to get everybody involved. Brandon Wimbush, ladies and gentlemen, joining the On the Other Hand podcast. Let's see where he's at. Let's see, my God. Let's just keep playing the highlights. We're going to check in with Brandon. Put in the comments what you want to hear from Brandon. It's going to be a special one because we're going to let all the secrets out. I got my questions ready for him. We're going to talk his experience, at Notre Dame while I was there. What happened after. I mean, it was a lot of good stuff that happened in those quarterback rooms from, 13 all the way to where Ian is now. So it's a lot of juicy stuff. Excited that you guys are on tune in to On the Other Hand podcast. We got Brandon's highlights right here. I mean, you check him out. I mean, he was getting crazy out there. Beat Wimbush. But ladies and gentlemen, obviously you don't get to hear this too much. But On the Other Hand podcast, we're bringing the most uncommon stories about the sports world to you guys. I got our guy Brandon coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, let me get to the. Uh-oh. We got our guy.
What's up, man?
Bush.
Why you pulling up 2000 film from 2015?
Ladies and gentlemen, the people. I need to know. They need to know who they're watching right now. They're watching the young legend. He was putting in work at Notre Dame, and we had to bring up the highlights. But thank you so much for joining the podcast, brother. I know you busy. It's quarantine, but thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, bro. I'm excited to be here and to be able to voice what I'm doing and see how you're doing.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's a crazy 2020. It's not a usual 2020, especially on the football side. So many things happen in football, as you can tell. But just from your perspective, what you been doing for real this off season?
Yeah, bro. So I don't know if you're if you're knowledgeable to it, but I actually changed positions, bro. So I'm doing the Taysom Hill thing.
Oh my
Obviously,
God.
for the people listening, the guy on the Saints, right? I think they found value, Malik, in those utility players. I think they're starting to find value in those utility players. And I know Bill Belichick specifically enjoys having, receivers or running backs that could, play quarterback in high school because you're able to do a lot more with those types of guys. You know what I mean? When they're at the receiver or at the running back position. So for me, bro, it's been even more of a whirlwind trying to seek out an opportunity at the next level because of that. You know what I mean? And things didn't go as planned when I went down to UCF, and man, that's something to talk about. You had three black quarterbacks go from Notre Dame to Florida.
Oh man, we can excommunicate
I can't,
Florida
I
from
can't curse.
all our quarterbacks at Notre Dame.
What's that? What's that?
Yeah, excommunicate Florida from all black quarterbacks at Notre Dame if you try to transfer.
Right.
Like, just
Right.
all the
Not,
schools up there.
it's not the place to be. The only school left is Miami and FAU. But so yeah, that's just another conversation in itself. But it didn't go as planned, and so really, Malik, like if you look at it, and I just started to understand and acknowledge it myself that I really haven't played good, like long, lengthy football in 2 years. I played the first 3 games, and then I went down to UCF and played one. Right, so in the past 2 years, I've played at quarterback 5 games. You know what I mean? Because I went in at Florida State, the last couple weeks. So yeah, man. So it's been hectic. I'm still training. Every morning I'm down here in Western Florida with Brandon Marshall and doing some other stuff on the side, business wise to keep my mind sharp.
Man, you're packed and you're not slowing down to say the least, man. I'm super proud of you, and there's a lot of things that I want to touch on, but like you said, man, you're trying that different position at Taysom Hill. It is popular in the league. You see guys like Greg Ward, who played for the Eagles and had a really good. It's coincidentally he played over Kyle Allen the year he was there, and
Right.
then he didn't get drafted,
Yeah.
but then got a chance to get picked up as a receiver and had a pretty good run with those guys last year. And then Kyle ended up getting a chance and playing, and it just is crazy at work. But you do see the utility type of role. I think Jalen Hurts will
That's
prove
what they're gonna.
a
Yeah, they're
point.
gonna try to utilize him that way early on. You know what I mean? That's what I think they brought him in to do.
Now, this is also a generational thing that guys are like, okay, I'm open to the idea. Usually guys like me and even before me, we're like, man, no, forget that. I'm not about to switch. Why would I switch positions? That's so dumb. But you've taken a bigger approach to it, which is different, but you got to talk about that too.
Yeah. I went through some things, and I'm sure you know kind of a little bit about what I went through at the quarterback position, and it was a little different than what a lot of other quarterbacks experience. Um, but I had to find a deal. I had to find a way to deal and to cope with it, and I had to find a way to stay in love with the game of football, if that makes sense. Like I didn't want to force anything, but I knew I still loved this game, and I know it brought me to so many places, right? That I didn't want to give it up. I didn't want to hang the cleats up just yet. So I figured, what can I do on the field that's going to benefit my team, whatever team I'm with, and is going to allow me to continue to play this game that, like I said, brought me so far and has been a blessing to my life. So I figured, to be happy, I was going to do the receiver thing. I was going to do whatever was going to, like I said, benefit my team in the long run. You know what I mean? So that was it, man. And just being able to go run around freely. Like we've never done that, so it was a completely different experience, and it allowed my mind to be free roaming. Like, imagine going to play receiver, bro, and after all the rigor on the mind that you go through at the quarterback position, just you know what I mean. It's not even, especially at Notre Dame. There's so much put on you. So if you're able to, it's not, I don't want to stay taking a step down, but man, it is mentally. Mentally, it's a You know what I mean, yo? It's like level 50 compared to level 500 mentally when you leave the quarterback room.
And you know so much of the receiver position now. You're like, I know all the stuff to do.
And you always feel like you can go play or be a great receiver when you're a quarterback, but it's not easy.
Yeah, so what's the physical part? Like we know the mental part is checked out. That's easy part. But now what's the mental of the physical part of training as a receiver where you gotta be the guy that's on time now. You gotta have your head around and take the right steps.
Right.
What's that like for you?
You know it, but you can't go out. It's not easy to go out there and perform. So now you're getting yelled at by the quarterbacks. But no, I was good in that part, man, because I've been physically gifted and blessed, so I was able to really make the transition, and I'm still at 230, which is not helping me. It's not helping me make the transition. So I've been trying to lose a little bit of weight, which is going to help me just be a little bit more efficient. But the biggest thing, bro, I think for me is urgency when even working out. Right, I think that's going to be able to help my game or help the fast twitch, Malik. That's what we didn't really have at the quarterback position. Like it's not like that's not something you worry about. You know what I mean? When you're in the quarterback position, is the fast twitch. So what I've been focusing on for these past 6-7 months in training is just doing everything with a little bit of a quicker twitch, just to be able to have that transfer over to my on the field play. Because you take a 5-step drop, 3-step drop, you're in a mesh, right? You're slowly in a mesh. You're trying to progress and read things, but at the receiver position, it's just you got to go lightning fast.
Yes.
I mean, like you can't be waiting for nothing.
Yeah.
So that's been the biggest physical thing for me.
That's awesome, man. And just the mindset that you are comfortable doing it, I think that's going to take you a long way too, because you're looking at it from a point of, like you said, I look back on how I went through the same thing. And like you said, you only play like 3 or 4 games for real where you are the guy the whole time. You're not feeling no heat on your back. You get a chance to really do your thing. And you're like, man, 5 years and 5 games or 3 games ain't adding up. So now it's about playing football, and I'm glad that that's been a big thing for you.
Yeah, you think you could have made that transition, bro?
Yeah, I just mentally didn't want to. I'm like, no, forget that.
But you were a quarter, I was the same way. But man, like we can talk offline about what happened, but we're all quarterbacks. Like that's what we do. That's what we grew up doing. That's what we grew up throwing the ball. We grew up going to the Elite 11. We were the top 10 quarterbacks in the country. It's ingrained in your mind that you're a quarterback, and I completely agree with that. Voice of opinion. And we're not just black athletes playing quarterback, but I am a damn good athlete, and that's what makes it able. That's why people want to see Lamar go do that, because he's a great athlete, but he's a damn good quarterback too. You know what I mean?
100%.
So that's where my mind was.
And it's so funny because I just want to take it all the way back to, I remember my first time with you was you came to the hotel like a game week with your mom, and it was, I think it was a floor at the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the best coach that really put together the whole room at the time. It was just, we'll talk about that in a second, but my first time seeing you, LaFleur was like, I got this kid, just come by, say what's up. He's like you, almost like he's deciding between Penn State, right, at the time.
Yeah.
And you was like thinking about making the switch or whatever. And so Coach LaFleur was like, okay, just do your thing, kind of just come on. So you came and you super shy, and your mom was like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
That was so cool. She was just like, yeah, hey, and had a bunch of questions for us, and then you just being super cool. I'm like, who's this kid? He probably think, he's a top kid, they don't really, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're from New Jersey, so I'm like, okay, so he probably like, all into the fashion because it's just New York. It's just the East Coast.
Right.
But you were super smooth. But what was that first time for you like, too, coming to the hotel in South Bend?
Yeah, I think it was a Stanford game. So I think
Yeah.
yeah, it was a Stanford game. And hats off to LaFleur for putting together probably one of the only ever completely black quarterback rooms in Stanford. Um, but that experience was awesome, man. It was rainy. I remember it clear as day, and Everett threw that last minute touchdown in the back of the end zone. I forget who the tight end was, but it was a great play. But yeah, man, I remember the day so vividly. I was hanging out with EQ, and we did the host nightlife thing, and we had a great experience. I want to say it didn't take me more than a couple days after that experience to know that I wanted to join the Notre Dame Irish family. You know what I mean? Um, Oh, man, the hotel was awesome. I remember meeting you, your smile. I mean, it radiates the entire room. So obviously, my mom fell in love with you and your mom and Deshaun's parents and everybody that she was able to meet and throughout the experience. But I think the big thing for me was the family aspect of it, and I felt that the first night that I stepped onto campus.
And that's so true. It's like it's a very welcoming experience even when I was on my visit to Notre Dame, it was football, of course, but you just felt like, oh, these are guys that just are regular guys too.
Right.
And
Like you came up smiling, like, man, you know what I mean? That shit. Yeah, sorry, that it brings a warm feeling into your heart, right? Like these guys are gonna take you in, and my mom kind of she felt that as soon as she met you and met everybody else that it was gonna be a family for me, and that's what she wanted.
now, from a competitive standpoint, we had at the time it was nobody really there. It was just me and Deshaun, and then I think one or two other guys. But
When I came in or when I came on the visit.
for your decision on switching and committing to Notre Dame, what was like your mindset of, okay, I'm going into this. I got Malik in there. Was Ev still there at the time? I think Ev
No,
was
he.
still
So
there.
when I went, he was. That was his. That's when he transferred out.
Okay, that was okay. So then it was just me, Deshaun, and then you came
Yeah,
in, right?
yeah.
So what was kind of like LaFleur talking to you about, and like how you kind of saw yourself coming into a situation? Because in my opinion, I just thought when you came in, before you even came in, it was just a tense room from
Yeah.
just how it was built. We'll talk about that. But what was your uh, mindset coming in, seeing the room and how it was and everything going on?
Um, my mindset coming in, right? So I guess I can speak through like my recruiting, decision making process, and that was more
Left
so.
Penn State. You know what I mean?
What's that?
You left Penn State.
Yeah, so I decommitted from Penn State, um, boggled down or broke it down from my top five, which I think was like Virginia Tech, Penn State, Miami, Ohio State, and maybe Stanford was in there, but Notre Dame was nowhere on my radar, bro. Initially, until I started playing. It was the second week we played on ESPN, and we played Bergen Catholic. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They probably play a couple games in Ohio, but we put on a show, and we had a great, phenomenal senior class that year coming out of high school, and we put on a really good show on TV, and that's when LaFleur called me and reached out to me and wanted to offer me and wanted me to get on campus. So it was after that, and you know, I think he actually left on signing day, bro. Like he called me and was like, I'm taking an opportunity down with Atlanta. Um, but the day went right where I signed. I called him. He congratulated me, called Coach Kelly the whole nine, and then like 5 hours later, he hit me up and was like, I'm out. That's just college football. It's the business of college football, and never mad at him for doing what's best for him and his family. Still communicate with him to this day. So, and he's doing a phenomenal job where he's at now, leading the Green Bay Packers. But coming into the room, man, different year, Malik, because that was the year that it was that was Showtime. That
That
was
was
Showtime. That was Showtime year, right? So, like,
we was all nice. We was all nice for real. It was a good year.
that was a good year. I mean, it was interesting to say the least. And you know, um, I don't know. I was excited, man. I was excited to be a part of a room that's been so successful. Um, I knew I wasn't going to be handed the sticks to play right away. I understood the game of patience and of waiting to for your turn, and I understood that there's people who are older than me who have been in a system who are just as good, at playing this position that I was, and there's a learning curve, and some guys are so damn eager to go play right away, and some players are phenomenal, right? That can just step into a role freshman year and excel, but more so than likely, um, playing early freshman year is gonna hurt your career. You know what I mean? There's not going to be the positive impact on your career. So even for me, I was blessed to be able to sit behind you and Deshaun and to learn for 2 years before I stepped into the starting role, and I think that really benefited me. So, but yeah, man, I had two coaches, right? So I wasn't like you and how many you went through three coaches? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like
So
I had Martin, and
yeah,
then Martin left, and then I had LaFleur.
yeah,
LaFleur was on there for a year, and then right when I started getting going, he left, and then you came, and then we had
yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like,
every
like
year.
having two coaches was a good thing for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So then, okay, so then 2015, they were still, when I had gotten hurt that game, they were still deciding, okay, you or Deshaun, who they going to put in there at the time.
Yeah.
And what was kind of your thoughts at that? Like, because that was like a pivotal moment in everybody's career. I feel like that very play. Like anything could happen because we had such a good team
Yeah.
that even Gummy could have been in there. Not saying Gummy, or
Yeah.
no one
No.
could have been in there and really turned some heads. But what was
But
kind of your thoughts in that point in junction?
was it the second game?
That gave it a year, crazy.
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, yeah, like I was on the sideline fired up to go in this game. You know what I mean? Like I just came from playing some not scrubs, but I just came from playing, high school football in New Jersey, which is a damn great state to play high school football. Very comparable to your Ohio. That's
You know,
another, huh?
how am I to get you guys? But
That's another conversation. But it's up for debate. But yeah, man, I was like, I was nervous, and if you're not, if you're human, you're going to be nervous in that position as a freshman, as a guy who was, you know, basically pinned the third string. Uh, Big year, right? It was a great level of expectation for the team that year, and Deshaun went in and did what he did, and I was there to continue to support the both of you. But I got my time later in the year, that same year, and was able to do some things just to get my feet wet.
absolutely. And 2015 was a great year. We had a lot of good success in that year. You learned a lot, and everybody learned a lot. And what was your opinion of Coach Kelly, growing through up until when you're getting ready to that starting role? Because just like me and it's a different relationship going from trying to get the spot to having the spot.
Right. I think he grew with me, man. To be honest with you, um, I was able to, like I said, I was able to sit behind you two and learn a lot, man. I'm sure he was a different cat from 2014 to 2015, and when he moved on from different quarterbacks. But what I'm trying to say in that, I think he grew with me, is that I saw a lot of um, growth and behavioral change from Coach Kelly over the 4 years that I was able to spend under him. And when I stepped into the starting role, I thought he was a different coach. I thought he took a different approach to coaching. at least the quarterbacks. I think overall, honestly, and I think what kind of sparked that was the 2016 season, our 4-8 season. I think a lot of coaches would have, taken a deep down look inside of themselves as leader of a program and made changes. And I think he made the necessary changes. Um,
Yeah, I mean, 2016 was a totally different year than 2015. But in how you saw it, I mean, you were there the whole time in the mix. I was hurt and stuff, but I was coming back. But what was your just thought of why was it a 4-8 season in 2016? Do you ever think about that? Because that was a big part of your career too.
it was a big part of my career, and you know, I haven't really, thought about how that helped shape my career, but I've never been a loser. I don't think you've ever been a loser. I honestly don't think like I don't like I'm trying to think. Your guys' high school days. I don't think Deshaun's ever been a loser. I just don't know the program that he played at, but I'm pretty sure I know you guys. At Alter High typically won your games because you had Chris Fink and Nick Coleman. I don't know about anything else, but like I said, I've never been a loser, so that kind of opened my eyes to this thing is not as easy as it may seem, even playing for Notre Dame. But as to why I think we were 4-8 that year, man, I really couldn't. You can't pinpoint one or two things in the league. I think it's an accumulation of a lot of things. I mean, Coach Kelly got rid of half, three-quarters of the staff after that year. He got rid of our defensive coordinator amidst the horrible year, right? I believe early on. So that's not gonna greatly impact the team in during the year. Like that definitely hurt the defense. But and then there was a lot of other things that were going on. I think inside and behind the scenes. But you know,
Yeah, I think it's just it's tough to see it. I just think going from so much success and then having the struggles early that just kind of plagued the whole season. I think we were always in the game of things and provided one or two things may have been different, it could have made the whole season different because it wasn't like we were getting destroyed at all. And I think
what was it? What was the point differentiation? I think it's like 28 points the whole year.
yeah, we were losing by like touchdowns every game.
Or
like
3 points. Yeah, it was terrible. So
But that transition was huge. I mean, I cleared out, Deshaun left, the coaching change staff changed, the strength and conditioning had a turnover. So it was almost like a fresh team. So that 2017 year where you guys started to see a huge turnover and you the lead of it, what was that experience like for you? Because you go from 15 was good, 16 was rough, and 17 was brand new.
just a fresh start, man. Um, and you understand it, right? When you leave football and you take on other endeavors and having a fresh start. And for me, that was what it was. And yeah, I'm excited as ever to lead this program and to lead the team. And so there was no turning back. There was no looking back for me. I wanted to, you always want success, and I put in the time and the effort and the dedication I committed to the team to be able to accomplish that. And we had a young group, I believe, up front. Or actually, no, we were well experienced with Mike and Q and Bars and Sam, and we had a great group of guys up front that helped drive. Was essentially the driving force of that engine. And we went into the year, and what did we end up? We ended up 10-3. We won a good bowl game. Um, so yeah, man, I think it was a blessing in disguise, that 4-8 season, to understand the downfalls of this thing, and then to be able to know how to move forward to win 10 games.
And yeah, I think it was a big learning experience, and then you jump into the new season leading the pack. And what a lot of people don't know is that like the quarterback position under Notre Dame offense, you do everything. Is everything is considerably ran through you,
Right.
and running and throwing the football because it's a lot on your shoulders. So that being the first year where the offense was through you, where you're doing all the passing, all the running, you leading the pack. What was that? Was that? Do you feel like that was a strain for you your first year, or was something that was growing as time went on?
No, that wasn't a strain because I was doing it in high school. So I understood what my talents were, where my talents lie, right? And I think Coach Long and Coach Kelly did a pretty good job of shaping the offense around me. I think there could have been some adjustments maybe down the road, but yeah, I thought I was typically put in a good position to help the team win and to move forward. And I think we did that. I think we had a great group of talent around me that was able to help me out, and that made things a little bit easier, as they always do, as in your first year of playing quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, you was stacking up the games and stacking up the yards, man. It was real good to see you out there. And what was like your favorite part about that first year and just being in that freedom position where you're not, like I said, like looking over your shoulder or
Yeah.
having to go through so much just to get out there.
Um, the USC game, bro. We played them at home, and you never had the chance to play them, right? Or
Not
like
at home.
starting and yeah, but yeah, man, under the lights. I think that's one that I'll never forget. Especially the way we won. I think that was the most fulfilling win that I had at Notre Dame, other than the Michigan game. But was able to do some phenomenal things that game. Like I said, with the talent that was around me, which helped me, help us obviously win and put together that performance. Um, but there's nothing like it playing your rivals under the lights in at home in the stadium.
Yeah, man, it's nothing like that experience of when everything clicks. I say when everything starts
Yeah,
clicking, and you're just like, man, I knew I
yeah,
could do it. Like it's making sense. It's
like
flowing.
you had it. Yeah,
We doing well, and there's always up and downs to a season.
yeah,
Especially at a Notre Dame where you're playing top teams every year.
yeah,
And every game is a top game in high stakes where you're traveling or whatever the case is. So, yeah, there was a lot of ups and downs. But where do you think that things could have went better? Because I feel like Coach Kelly wronged you in just the stress added while you was going through those rough patches where, like you said, I think things could have been called a little bit better for the situation.
yeah. Um, I think Georgia game is honestly where that kind of started, man, and that was our second game of the year that year. Um, I think it could have gone better. I think we could have won the game. Um, we were in the game, you know what I mean? And who would have known that Georgia was going to be as dominant as they were that year? I think that's when they got to the championship game or the playoff game or whatever it was. But we lost that one 20-19. Um, last drive was on us, was on me, and we didn't come up with it.
And that
So
was a great game.
that was a phenomenal game. That was a
It was
phenomenal
nothing to be like, oh, I was just playing poorly. It was a very hard fought game for
game.
people
Yeah,
to understand.
absolutely. And that SEC defense, man, is different, and I know you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But Georgia's defense that year was something scary. So we tried our best to get past them and do what we had to do, but we came up short. But we knew where we were at, and we knew that was a phenomenal team that we were going up against. But that was one of the early downfalls to speak to your question. That I thought I don't think it put us on a downward slope, Malik. I think it helped us, you know, kind of know where we're at and that we are able to compete this year against the best teams, in the country. But then we got later in the year to the Stanfords,
I
And
thought
then
the was the big.
the Miami game.
I thought that
Miami
was the
game. Yeah. Okay,
game.
yeah. I was,
Miami game
I
was
don't know
big.
why I was tripping. Like people gonna listen to this and be like, forget about the Miami game. No, but the Miami game obviously sticks out, bro. It sticks out, and I'm actually down here in Miami, so or Fort Lauderdale at least. So when people, when I talk to people, that's the game that they remember most. And I don't love talking about it, but I love addressing it because you're always supposed to address your failures. You're always supposed to, seek ways to improve. And that game, I thought we just walked into a club. It was walking into a club. How loud and rowdy their fans were, but it was a different one. You take losses every once in a while in your life, and that was definitely one of the big ones. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Coach Kelly in that game and playing, I I don't think things um, were handled right in that game specifically. But I didn't perform right. I never like to put put blame somewhere else. But it was
I,
rough.
I think it's odd. I understand your feelings 100% because I felt like there was a time and a place, and I was in the same position where you're like, okay, you know, yeah, this is a good team. They got all the hype. However, we also have things we got too
Yeah,
that I don't feel like is being in the situation.
yeah,
I feel like where are these things at that we've been practicing all week, or where are these things that
yeah,
could help what we've like prepared for? I feel like there were times where, like I said, there's a lot of pressure put on the quarterback in running the offense. So if the play's not good necessarily, or if you're not in the right call, it's really you have to make it right.
yeah,
And being put in positions that aren't always the best when you're in make it right positions can make it hard. And I think that should it be a thing where now it's like, okay, let's mess up the rhythm of the guy and take him all the way out the game.
yeah,
I don't think that's a very constructive way of
yeah.
helping the situation.
I don't either. But I think that was probably in the back of their minds. You know what I mean? At some point, if he threw another couple picks, right? Like that's probably what they were thinking. We're gonna give Book a shot. And if he had gone in there and threw a couple touchdowns, shit. I mean, sorry, things would have been, you know,
Now you remember the game. I mean, it was just
what?
unfortunate for both of you guys
What's that?
because
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He went in there and
and
threw
doing
a pick.
pictures, everybody's looking
Yeah,
like, oh my god.
yeah, it ain't Brandon. No, that game, it ain't Brandon. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. The whole landscape would have like looked different if he had gone in there and lit it up.
Yeah, and I think too is just that's where the whole adversity comes in. I think it happened to me, it happened for you, it happened for a lot of guys, but it's an awkward position moving forward from there
Yeah,
because then it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Now,
yeah.
how did you handle that experience when you're looking at it like, dang, well, okay, that was terrible, but where do you? What I mean, now what? Now I feel embarrassed because
Yeah.
the situation. What do we do?
Um, well, that Monday, uh, Tommy made it really clear that I was back in the number. I was back in the starting position, so that was good, right? Just to establish, certainty amongst the quarterback room, amongst the entire offense and the entire team, really, right? That we have our starting quarterback. Brandon's back at the spot. Ian's back at number two. We're going to continue to evaluate, but every day is an evaluation, and you know that playing the quarterback
Yeah,
position.
that's what
What's that?
you learn that every day is an evaluation.
Absolutely, in everything, and in life. So I understood that, and I understood I had to come to work that week, right, and be phenomenal and have a great week of practice. And we did, and I think we went on. I forget who we beat that next week, but it was a really good week of practice, and we came out on top the next weekend, which was really all that mattered moving forward. Because as you take your failures in life, you got to understand how to get back up and win the next one.
Absolutely. And you guys finish the year playing LSU. Like it's like a full circle thing, man. It's crazy how things go. Like you go back
Yeah.
and you in that year y'all play LSU now. For you, how was your experience and your thoughts about the game and what even though you had success, what could have been better in your mind for you to feel that good experience as well?
Yeah, that was tough, bro. That was tough. Winning that game and being benched, man. I wish I could have experienced. Like it's not anything against anyone, but it's human nature to feel like damn near left out, bro. Like I went into the locker room and like I wanted to be, all happy, jolly, for the win, but I was benched. Like you were replaced. You know what I mean? So um, it was tough, but I don't want to say I understood. Like I thought I knew I could have kept playing and have won that game. I knew it was going to be a down to the wire game, and I knew that I had to dig deep into myself to find ways to win and to put the team in position to win that game. And I don't know. I think at that point, coaches were kind of ready to move on. You know what I mean? Especially heading into next season. So that was that.
Now, to the game you guys win. Obviously, it felt like a changing of guard and that's the weird thing about Notre Dame. It's never like a this is what we're gonna do, and the whole team knows. It's kind of like you feel that all right, maybe it's time to transition for myself, and what was that experience then? Okay, LSU games happen. What's next for Brandon? What was that experience for you moving forward after that?
Go get better. Simple as that. Go get better. That's when I linked up with the guys, Tom House. You're familiar with them, I'm sure. So that was it, man. Go figure out why they're not as confident in me as I am in myself, and that was it. So I took the time that off season to improve my game and came back in the spring, a different guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good challenge to have because it just is like, all right, now I got to take my game to another level, and that growth is something that obviously everybody wants to prove that growth. And you go into the spring now. What's the next season look like for you, and how you thought you've grown, and how you were preparing for obviously where you're getting to now?
I felt like myself again, throwing the ball. That in the spring, springtime. There's something that just, like you said, it just clicked for me that spring. But came out, spring game, it's like 70 something percent, 80%, two something, like, two touchdowns, really, really good game. So I was, I was comfortable moving forward. I was like, okay, this might be different. This might be a different year for me, a different season playing wise. Um, but moving forward, did you ask? Can you ask your question again? I'm sorry, I lost my.
Yeah, like that transition. Yeah, you come back. It's just a tough situation, right?
Yeah.
Tough situation because you're like, where's my place at? What do I do next? Now, like you said, you go and train, you get ready for the spring, have a great spring game.
Yeah.
What was the next step for you after that from the mindset? Because, there's a lot of decisions to be made because you're getting older. You don't want to.
Getting older, yeah. You're thinking about next level. Yeah.
What's the plan for you and how you thought about those steps? Because I'm trying to get to how everybody like me, you, and Ev, we all go to Florida. So I'm trying to lead up to how do we end up in Florida?
I don't know how we all ended up in Florida, man. I should have seen the pattern and known that that joint wasn't going to end well. But no, man, you go in the year, you're thinking, all right, this is my year. Next year is NFL. Like you have no other thoughts. You're
Right.
as positive as ever going into the year. You know, this was one of the first couple years of the playoff system. We had just, you know, came up short last year. You know, our 2017 year being ranked number 3 at one point, and then getting booted out after the Miami loss. So you're trying to get your team back on track. You're excited about Notre Dame and the program and the talent that you have around you again. This is your second year at the helm. So you're like, all right, things have just got to go better than they did last year. That's inevitable, right? That's what you think. Until you start playing and it doesn't always go as planned. God has a different plan for you. And I fell victim to that, and was able to understand it and hold my head high during the year and continue to support Ian, who's a dear friend of mine, and continue to support the guys around me. They needed that leadership and they needed that seniority in the locker room to help us go 12-0. You know what I mean? So,
That's definitely, and that's probably the toughest pill to swallow as a quarterback, because we all have egos. You know, we all want to be there, and then the team is just doing good. You got your book, The Ego in the Enemy.
go ahead, bro. I'll send you one right after this.
Please do. And
Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. It's a great
I
one.
personally don't believe it's wrong. You gotta have an ego to be in that position, because you gotta do a lot, and it takes a lot of confidence to run that efficiently. Because like anybody else, if you don't have confidence when you playing, that's worse than any other thing that can take over your game while you're in that position is confidence. Because if you start second guessing yourself, you start getting hit more, and it just goes downhill from there. But when you're in that position and you're seeing things got going well, it almost feels helpless. What did your perception of Coach Kelly or just the team change as you grow older? Because me personally, I felt myself, my exit, I should have did it a lot better and been more helpful to you guys. But the situation in the quarterback room made me so hardened to where I was like, man, I'm just trying to either play or get to stepping, because at the time I was there.
That's the ego in you, though. That's the ego, though.
It wasn't no face.
It wasn't no what? It wasn't what?
Wasn't a friendly space in the quarterback room from just how the competition was set up. Every day you go in there, they're like, okay, you're gonna get these reps, and then you're gonna get he's gonna get these reps, and then
now that you say it, that was like the whole year.
The whole year, and you're like, we're trying to get into a game, and you got guys that you're not going to be playing with in the game that you're practicing with, and then you're not hitting the same thing, so you're not getting the rhythm, and you're like, oh my god, this is like the hardest thing to do. Is a quarterback.
I remember how mad you used to be.
Oh man, every day.
You're hot. But I had to deal with that at UCF because we were competing. Like it was a flat out competition, leading up to the season. And I didn't really have to do that with Ian. Even going into the 2018 year, it was established after the spring, I want to say, or maybe fall camp. You know how Coach Kelly is. He'll push it to fall, the competition. What's that?
It should never have taken that long, especially
after the spring I had. I thought I deserved it, but yeah, man, it was tough, and I'm trying to think of what you said again. What was the question?
What was that conversation and you're like, all right, I want to leave? Because I had a very brief conversation.
Yeah. What was my conversation like? Coach Kelly wanted to help me. So my mindset, I think, is what we were hitting on during the year. We were 3-0. I think I threw one touchdown and had 4 picks through those 3 games. Um, so I'm trying to think, but I was coming out of this slump that I was in, Malik. Like
We were
I
winning.
felt it.
We were winning games. You were winning
I was
games.
winning games. I was coming out of this slump that I had, this little thing that I had going. And the next week after Ball State, I think it was the third game, or Vanderbilt was the third game, we go into Wake Forest. It's not a great opponent. You know what I mean? They're not gonna test you as much as other teams. They gave Ian the starting position that week, and he went in there and tore it up. I think he threw he totaled like 5 touchdowns. So I knew from there that, all right, you know what I mean. It might not be a question anymore. Um, but so it took me a week or a couple to adjust my mindset and know that me as a person, like I'm bigger than what's gonna deteriorate this team. Um, I understood that God had a different purpose for me, and He didn't place me in that locker room to be I don't know what to call it, but I knew I had a bigger purpose being in that locker room at that moment. That was bigger than myself. You know what I mean? But you're damn right. I had an ego and I wanted to go play. That's the natural thing in any quarterback and any human being after being replaced. But I knew I could have caused damage. I knew you could have caused damage too. And I think we're both bigger people than a lot of other people would have been in that situation. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, how good of people we are. Like we're really good guys, man. And I think that I always joke about looking back, like, man, I would have said this or did this, but like, I think
yeah,
like you said, it is a
I mean,
bigger
life
purpose.
is bigger than that, man. Like you move, you know what I mean? If you look back on it now, you're like, if I did that, what type of relationships would I have? You know what I mean? You probably wouldn't even be close with some of the guys that you're close with today because they would have been like, Malik's acting like this, and we need him to be engaged. You know what I mean? Like, I could have, you could have wreaked some havoc in that locker room, man. So I'm happy we did.
Absolutely, man. You're going to another fresh start, right? You got a whole new another recruitment, the
Yeah.
1 year transfer recruitment. You got your degree. Everything is smooth sailing now. You're getting all these options for schools now. What kind of transpired in that situation? You said Coach Kelly helped you, or was
Yeah,
it guys called you?
he wanted to lend a hand in that process for me. He reached out to some of his guys who used to be on his old coach, like Coach Martin was one of the guys I was in contact
In
with
Miami, yeah.
early on, right? So that would have been a good opportunity to go play there. And he had known a little bit about me prior to everything that went on. So there was a good connection there. I went to visit there, and then some of the older schools that had recruited me out of high school. I don't know if it's the same thing for you. Had gotten in contact with me, and even Ohio State, bro. They didn't know if Justin Fields was going to be eligible. So Ryan Day was reaching out to me and wanted to give an opportunity, which would have been phenomenal. But what I saw in UCF, my grandfather actually passed away on January 11th of 2019, and I was in the middle of deciding on which school I wanted to go to, and I visited UCF. So I came down to Florida for the funeral, and then I visited that same weekend, I believe. So maybe something in me was like, I want to be closer, near to my grandma, near to my mom, who's in Atlanta, right? So I don't know. It was kind of timing for me, but I thought UCF had a phenomenal opportunity for me to play, and they had been reaching out to me. Coach Levy, who's now at Ole Miss, had reached out to me and wanted me to come be a part of their program.
Now you're feeling great. All the signs are lining up. I thought I had the same stars aligned. It just sounded like the perfect place to go. They had everything was picture perfect 1 year and out, and we're moving on. Now you get down there. Now, what's your initial experience as opposed to what you thought was going to happen?
Um, I'm trying to think of what type of expectations. As a quarterback, you have expectations to play. As a guy who's played um, already a year and a half of football, you have an expectation to go ahead and start at a program like UCF. And I knew what they had accomplished, over the past 2 or 3 years prior. So I knew they had expectations to go win a lot of football games and to be, uh, a competitor in any conference and around the country. So I had expectations of going to win a lot of football games, putting myself in the position to be the starting quarterback for that year. Nothing else. And got through the spring, was doing that thing where you get these reps, you get these reps. It was like 3 or 4 of us going at it, so it was tough.
Yeah, so many. It's too many.
It was tough. I don't know how it was for you, but
It's too
there was a
many.
lot of there was a lot of us going at it through the spring, and then you know spring game was the spring game, and it was kind of still an open battle going into fall. Same thing as it was at ND.
Yeah, I realize the same thing. I'm like, it's like the devil you know is better than the one you don't,
Yep.
and you think it's the grass is green on the other side. And in fact, just
Yo.
like you, I had an even worse competition experience when I went for the one year where I'm like, where are all these guys coming from? Like, it's impossible to have 5 and 4 guys trying
Yeah.
out for the one spot. You got 1 year, so you already behind on just the knowledge part.
Right.
So you begin just like I thought going in, like, all right, they got the situation set up to support me coming in there because that's why I'm coming in. I only got 1 year.
Right.
But I go into camp and it's like 50 guys trying to get the one spot to play, and there's no way. And I
Right.
even said in the interview at Notre Dame, it's just no way to have 6 different Captain Jack Sparrows in one summer camp trying to get the spot. It's just impossible.
Did you acknowledge that? Like, did you talk about that? No.
Just like when you in it, just like when you in there, what are you gonna say? What do you? There's
Yeah.
nothing to you just know it. You just like look around, be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to the meeting rooms. You go into the meeting rooms and your reps are broken down, and one day you'll be taking ones, but you won't be taking ones again for like 3 days or
Yeah.
something. Like
Yeah.
you,
Some,
like, why am I taking these? So it just makes the situation harder,
absolutely.
to get involved in it. But I thought it was different for everybody that did
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. So it was difficult to kind of get in a real good groove, and to be able to go with the running with the one receivers, running even like our footwork in the backfield with some of the running backs. We had like 4 different running backs, right? So it took adjustments and a learning curve there. Obviously, adjustments and a learning curve, learning how these guys run routes and kind of everything, man. And even the linemen, you know what I mean? They want to know who's going to be their guy going in. So but it's different.
those relationships. It's like receiver. It's not like receiver where you can have 50 different receivers going
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
and how you got to have a relationship with the guys up front
yep.
as well as just even the cadence. If you got 4 different
Yeah, like
cadence,
they're like, yo, I can't. You know what I mean? Like you got a different cadence than the other homeboy, and it was rough.
it's little stuff like that people will never know. But it makes it hard for a transfer quarterback. Like I'm telling people all the time, like Joe Burrow's experience is lucky. Like
Yeah,
his experience is a reason why he had the season he had is because nobody gets a chance in that aspect where it's a smooth, like you come in, you
just
play,
run the ship
next
the
year just
2
pops.
years straight. Yeah,
So yeah, but maybe it is the Florida thing, like going through Ev's experience when I was deciding. I'm like, well, as long as I don't go to Florida State, I should be good. Not I'm like, I just went to the opposite one, like whatever, like. But
yeah.
watching his experience was kind of the same thing. I mean, they gave him a chance, and it was like it just looked like a struggle. It
Everett,
never.
you talking about Everett?
Yeah, it didn't look like it was fluid while he was trying to do his thing down there, and they, even he had a good game, and then you just see them put somebody else in. It's
Yeah,
just a weird thing. Mine kind of happened in reverse, where they didn't put me in there first, but then they put me in when everything went to hell, and then.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was just too late, and then I had gotten hurt towards the end, so it was like
Yeah.
it's just like unfortunate, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the fashion aspect. You've always been very interested in the fashion aspect of things. What is that like for you? Have you always been a trendy fashion guy?
I don't know. I was just thinking about it today. I was like, I'm trying to look at my Instagram and see if like people went to my Instagram and thought like I had a good fashion sense. I think I'm very generic. I think I'm able to put clothes and pieces together that like go well, but I think it's like my own sense, bro. Like I think there's types of fashion lines like streetwear, professional, you know, stylists. Like there's different forms, right? But I think I'm like I'll bring like streetwear and match it with like professional attire. Like I don't, it really doesn't matter to me, but I think I can put together good pieces of clothing. And I think it does come naturally. And over the years, I get I've been able to see people who are in the fashion industry and been able to emulate a little bit of what they do.
Are you an emulation, Westbrook emulation, or like
Absolutely
who?
not, bro. Absolutely not. Like LeBron, like you put LeBron's clothes, like he's very neat and like minimalistic, I think, and I think it goes well and it fits him, and I think that's not emulating him, but I think that's kind of the path that I go down. You know what I mean?
I said I remember when you brought up. You said I want to do the nose ring, and we was all in the meeting room like. I mean, I guess who was it, Coach Sanford, who would never let it go? He was like, "What are you trying to be, Tupac?" Like,
And I had me like four of them things, man.
yeah, that was. I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, Brandon, always the freshest, man. You always the freshest." Now, your brother he's a big influence on you too because he didn't necessarily play football like you took the path of, but he's a stylish guy and does a lot of different things in his way.
Yeah, he's a entrepreneurial spirit at heart, and he's like you said, he does the big time social media, like self branding, right? So he's big on that, and he's been able to make his way doing his own thing, and I admire that. And I'm able to take nuggets from him as you are from all your siblings typically, and the good and the bad, and you know uh, what he's been able to accomplish and the ways he's been able to fail have helped me shape my path.
Absolutely, man. It's always good to have a bigger brother, especially when you're going through things and you need somebody to lean on. He's always there for you. And
100%.
now you're training for the NFL, and like you said, you're going through the switch of changing positions. You're learning new things, getting ready. What are you trying to go out and prove now? You know, taking on a different role from an athlete perspective, but also freeing yourself up more.
Yeah. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone except to the people who've always believed in me. And I forget who said that, but I think it might have been Tom. Like, don't try to go out and prove people wrong, but go out and prove the people who believe in you. Try to prove them right. And I'm doing this for myself as well as people who've invested in me over time. You know what I mean? This has been the ultimate dream, the ultimate goal for everybody who ever plays football. And I think I have some opportunities lying ahead where I can fulfill this dream, at least for however long. I think we're in a very strange economy as we're football wise, but I think there'll still be opportunities for guys like myself to get in and play for a little bit.
Yeah, you're seeing it all around, man. With the crazy economy and this coronavirus going on, a
Mhm.
lot of decisions have to be made in college football where people are feared for a season. But you also mix in there a lot of the things that are going on in social injustice with black people in general affecting these college sports. And what is your stance on it? Like, it wasn't really a, a thing to talk about while we were there because we were so ingrained in the football, but now so much social aspect is added to college sports that is changing the landscape. So how have you seen what's been taking place in college football?
You know what I'm just thinking about now is the voice that that us athletes are having. Um, and I think it's been real powerful. You can see how powerful even just a Trevor Lawrence tweeting about, we and I think it's synonymous with what's going on in the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that's going on with social injustice, right? Like the people who've had less voice are starting to have more of a voice, right? That's able to push initiatives farther and able to sustain results, which I'm very fond of. And if you draw, I'm drawing the parallel from college football and typically the oppressed group, which have been the athletes themselves, even in under the entire NCAA, has been the athletes themselves. Now being able to voice their opinions and being able to finally see results, as well as Black people in communities and people who have been supporting the Black Lives Matter. Their voices are being heard a little bit more, and things are being changed. Things are getting changed, and things are getting done around here. So I'm excited about the times that we're in. I'm excited about being in the demographic of people who are able to bring about change these days. It's the younger demographic that's doing this in the communities, right? And it's obviously the current players right now that are causing the most effect.
Like you're saying, like the voice is so important and it's becoming more apparent for us to have a voice that's recognized and acknowledged. And I think you're seeing that turnover in sports where sports is merging more with the culture each and every day as you're seeing
Yeah,
it. And with you having such a big brand and your brand is continuing to grow on and off the field, where do you feel like your best impact can come in when you're supporting Black people like we are, as well as wanting to play and advocate for finding a solution to play? Like, I feel like there's so many different complex factors that play into this that as being a person that people want to listen to, where do you take your stance on things and how you approach the situation?
All right. Let's start off, and I think we can continue to draw the parallel between college sports and what's going on in our world. And I think for me personally, man, I think I can continue to be more active when supporting um, Black Lives Matter, when supporting any initiative that's going to continue to draw equality, right? To get us to equality. And I think it's really important that we all are cognizant of everything that we're doing every day, right? Like it's the little things that are going to help us get to where we need to get to in our world. And even on the college football side, like I think what's going on today with the coronavirus, I think if we're playing and if we're not, like there's still a great percentage chance that guys are going to contract this virus, at a minimal level. So I think playing and moving forward with playing is the right way to go. Um, but yeah, man, we're in such weird times for sure.
Yeah, man. And I like you. I think things are going to get figured out as time goes on, and you're seeing the line being drawn. I
Yeah,
think you can be on this side or the other side, but it's going to come out eventually, and the unity from it is going to make it all better in the end. Is what the hope is for, right?
yeah,
So much is changing with that. I think there's going to be a season, but you never know. It gets crazy and crazy on the news, but
yeah,
now you also said you're interested in things off the field, and you
yeah,
have so many businesses
yeah.
or business ideas. What are some of those things? I know a little bit of media as well. You're thinking,
Yeah. So the big one right now that I'm working on, Malik, and I haven't even published or not published, but publicly stated it yet, is centered around the name, image, and likeness ruling. And if we have a season this year, like phenomenal. I doubt we're gonna have a year of playing, especially after the announcements from the Big Ten this morning. But I think moving forward, and that's where I was talking about, you know, athletes having power and having a voice, and it's around the name, image, and likeness ruling that's hopefully going to go into effect next year to be able to allow these athletes to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. And we would have reaped a great benefit from that, especially playing at Notre Dame. But I think there's a huge opportunity for athletes moving forward, not just football, basketball, right? Not just the revenue generating athletes, but I think even the Division 2 to Division 3 athletes who have a great social media following. So there's opportunities that lie there. And moving forward, I'm working on a platform that's going to benefit not just athletes but businesses, right? Where they'll be compatible and mutually beneficial for both parties, and hopefully align with all of the legalities that the universities have to abide by. So it's exciting. It's an exciting marketplace, and I'm grateful to be able to work in that space. That's hopefully going to open up soon. But other than that,
About that, I wish we could have made millions of dollars by the time we would have been.
Yeah, man. Some of these guys, some of the valuations on these athletes, would be is shocking. But yeah, we could have made a good amount of money for sure, being in South.
For sure.
Racked
Notre Dame
up.
quarterback? What? We could have been.
Yeah. You're international figure. You know what I mean? You're not even just a domestic figure. You know what I mean?
You out there.
Yeah.
Now, a couple questions, man. You've been giving us your time, man. Thank you so much for this, by the way. And speaking on Notre Dame, you had so many great experiences, up and down, adverse. You made it through. What is the couple things you learned from there that you've applied to your life that's kind of kept you going and put you in a really good spot?
Just being able to attack adversity, how to attack it, and the mindset that you have to have once you're in it, and you've gone through it. I know it's helped you become the man that you are today, and it doesn't hold true until you're in it, man. Like that was the biggest adversity I ever had to face in my life to the day. Like
Yeah.
I've had a real clean path, and uh, you know, I've been fortunate that that's the only type of adversity I've had to deal with, right? Like obviously there's other things in the background, um, but I think that's the greatest deal of adversity I've had to attack, and I learned a lot going through that. I learned a lot about myself, right? I think that's the biggest thing. I think that was the biggest thing about it, bro. Is I learned a lot about myself, what I'm capable of, and how strong my mindset is. So that's been able to help me, accomplish the things I've accomplished today, and has been able to help me establish the type of person I am today.
100%. Your girlfriend, I've been more active because you were kind of shy in the beginning, but your leadership, your competitiveness, and who you are has been growing and growing ever since, and I'm really proud of you, man.
Thank you, big bro. I appreciate you, man. And I remember you telling me like, that you're gonna be a damn good quarterback, and you always believed in me. So my hat goes off to you for being that figure in my life, bro, and um, showing me the way, showing guys the way, and I hope the best for you, bro, moving forward, whatever it may be. I know you have a lot of other interests and media talent, and I'm excited to see where you go when you're on the TV. I'm gonna need you to help me promote my product, bro. And
100%.
say my boy Brandon is throwing something out, is working on something that's gonna help athletes.
100%. I'm gonna get you right too, but we'll talk about that off the camera. But last question before we get you off. I always end. We learned so much about your uncommon story and how it's always developing and getting better. But what are 3 things that you suggest other people to try that you've experienced that has helped you grow as a person and gotten to where you are today? What are 3 things that you would suggest other people to try?
Practice humility. Whenever you have the opportunity, whenever you have the chance to practice humility, right? To practice being a good person. That's one thing. Read. I think continuing to be a student of life, of the game, um, reaps immense benefit, right? Understanding that you don't know everything. That's the only way you're able to grow, right? So doing that, and then the final and the most important thing is staying true to who you are, and to God. For me, is staying true to God, understanding that He has a he has a path and he has a plan for me. And knowing that, right, I'm in a position right now, man. I had a conversation. I'm at Brandon Marshall's gym, but he has a different trainer, Troy Jones, who's there and has been phenomenal. But I had a conversation with him about where I'm at today, and I'm trying to force things, right? I'm trying to look for the answers, right? Like I'm like, what's coming tomorrow? What's coming next? Is the NFL going to open up? Are they going to have workouts for guys like me, right? But I keep reading every morning my daily devotional. It's like his plan is greater than any type of you know action that you can take to seek out answers. So staying true to who you are, staying true to God and God's plan. Not that everybody believes in that, but, hopefully they believe in something that helps them get through their day.
100%. That's some wise Jim about a young Jedi QB and athlete, right?
Yes,
They gonna get another name.
Athlete, man. I can't. You know what? People be like, "Yo, you gotta go play defense." I'm like, "Yo, I can't tackle for a day in my life."
Yeah, we're not good with the tackling, but we can get away with people.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, man. On the Other Hand podcast, Brandon Wimbush, athlete extraordinaire, and he played at 2 major universities. Like, come on, like you can't hate on that. My man's still going. And tell him where to follow you at.
Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Be Wimmy Icon. The name of the company I'm creating is called Icon. Follow me on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to grow my followers, man. And media is such a huge part of the game. And I know you're killing it, bro. So thanks for having me again.
Always, man. Red Army, the best. Another
Red
Hand
Army for life.
podcast. Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir.